Welcome to Downshift. My name is Matt, and this is Toyota's newest SUV. This is their new Grand Highlander, and it's a big deal because for the last few years, the Hyundai Palisade and the Kia Telluride have been eating the Highlander's lunch, and they're updated in the last year. And the old nemesis Honda Pilot, that's also been updated in the last year, and it's stretched out. So, does this bigger, badder Grand Highlander have what it takes to take back the crown? Today we're going to find out, hitting the best and the rest, starting with the rest. Now the first thing, and I'm going to level with you, the only thing that I could really put on the con side of the video is the price. And that's because it's the only black and white place that I can look at this thing and say, yes, that is in fact more expensive or worse than some of the other competitors. But here's the thing, that's only because of the hybrid, which you can't get on the Palisade or the Telluride or the Pilot. The hybrid Grand Highlander starts at about $45,000, and as tested, this is a limited hybrid max with the turbo, and this is about $58,000. But if you don't want the hybrid, then you can get a range-topping Grand Highlander Platinum for the same money as a range-topping Palisade Calligraphy Night Package. That said, base for base, the Palisade starts at several $1,000s less than the Grand Highlander though. But what's one thing I whinge about in the Palisade and the Telluride and even the Pilot videos? It's the fact that they don't come with hybrids. Well, now you get it here. And no, it's not free, but you get it. And with the 2.5 hybrid, the non-turbo one, you can get over 30 mpg in combined driving in a massive family 3-row. But that's it. That's the only conceivable place that I can ding this thing. So let's talk about all the places that this is brilliant. Now the first thing, and one of my favorite things, is the efficiency and the power. Now this is the Hybrid Max powertrain that you get here. It's the top of the range. You start with a 2.4 liter turbocharged engine, then you go up to the 2.5 naturally aspirated hybrid, and this is the 2.4 with the turbo and a hybrid system. You don't get a hybrid in a Palisade, you don't get a hybrid in a Telluride, and you don't get a hybrid in a Pilot, but you do here. 265 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque. This thing is pretty quick. You've got all-wheel drive with dynamic torque control. It's a very sophisticated system. It's a very sport hybrid family 3-row. Fuel economy, I've been getting 26 mpg in combined driving all week. Maybe a little bit more highway, but pretty close to 50-50. Again, 0 to 60, 7.5 seconds. I mean, this thing is not slow. If you want more fuel economy, you can option down to the non-turbo, the 2.5 with the hybrid. That's the same that you'll get in the Highlander and the Sienna, and that'll do about 30 mpg in combined driving. That's pretty good, really good options here. And the next thing is, of course, the overall size and practicality, if you will. Now this is Toyota's direct response to the Koreans, the Palisade and the Telluride, which you're gonna be tired of hearing those two vehicles' names in this video. But the existing Highlander was just kind of too small to be competitive, especially with the new Pilot now also growing a few inches. So this addresses all of that. The Grand Highlander here is 6.5 inches longer than the Highlander. It's got a normal SUV shape, which maximizes headroom and cargo space. And the trunk is huge. It's almost 21 cubic feet with the third row up, class leading, I believe. And with it down, you're approaching 60 cubic feet. Again, class-leading figures outpacing the Hyundai and the Kia. Class-leading figures also approaching minivan figures. The only demerit is the fact that the third row doesn't power fold like you get in the fancy Palisade, but the Palisade is the only one to get that, so it's not exactly segment standard. And I know numbers are the best way that you can quantify things on an internet video, but when you actually sit back here or put stuff in the back, the second that you open that tailgate, it looks and feels like you have more cargo space than you do in any of the other competitors. Real-world applications. And then in the third row here, this is where Toyota really needed to focus and where the existing Highlander was kind of losing out to the Palisade and the Telluride. And they did focus back here, and it shows. This third row now has 5.5 inches more legroom than the normal Highlander. Let me say it again for the people in the back. 5.5 more inches of legroom. That's a huge difference. You also get a myriad of toys and amenities back here, like chargers and cup holders and vents. And this now feels like a competitive space against the Koreans, if not even a little bit bigger. The only downside back here is that you don't get any of the sexy gold stitching or piping that you get in the rest of the cabin. So it's big, great, it needed to be. But we also were recently in the Mazda CX-90, which is also big, I mean for a Mazda, but it had a very different driving philosophy. The Mazda kind of missed the whole point of who is gonna buy this thing. But this thing doesn't. This thing is very self-aware. It's so cushy. There's not a hard or rough edge anywhere around this thing. Everything is smooth. We also have the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon the 4xe, so the plug-in hybrid this week, and it is night and day, the differences in the refinement that you get from the hybrid system. The handoff here between electric and gas, and when it cuts in and cuts out, is seamless. Like, you would not notice it if you weren't looking for it. Everything is smooth, from power to steering to suspension to a shockingly quiet cabin. I mean, this is not super aerodynamic, and I have very little noise coming in here. I'm honestly really impressed behind the wheel with this thing. Not because it's fast or fun, which it kind of even is, but because it's exactly what it needed to be. And I do want to talk towing. Now, this one doesn't have... Can you let me do my thing?
First off, oh my God, can you let me do what I need to do?
But I do want to talk towing. Now, this one doesn't have a hitch installed. It's actually doing that because it's got the kick to open. Anyway, it doesn't have the hitch installed, but with the hybrid max powertrain, the 2.4 turbo with the hybrid, your towing maxes out at 5,000 pounds. That's a lot. That is, well, it matches the Palisade and it matches the Telluride if you don't get the X Pro with the transmission cooler, but also importantly, it matches Toyota's 4Runner, their body-on-frame, big NAV6. Same towing capacity as a 4Runner. Not bad. Okay, so you know how we were just back there and we said that that row gets an extra 5.5 inches of legroom? Well, the second row gets an extra inch too, and it's honestly perfect back here. I'm 6'1", I have plenty of room. The seats will slide, they'll recline. You can get heated and cooled seats back here, just like the CX-90 and the Palisade. This one just has the heated, but you can get the cooled. But my favorite thing is the removable center cup holder thing on the floor. It still has the gold accents, it still has the texture, and it's very posh, fitting of the Grand Highlander, and it does fit my big water bottles. I test like 100 cars a year. I always have this bottle with me. It never fits in anything. This is like the 4th car that I've ever tested that has room for my big bottle, and the first car ever that's had room for it in the back seat. Noise. Let me just put my bottle up here, and I can even do it with a little rubber boot on it too. But I do want to talk about the storage because there's loads of it. It's like they knew exactly who was going to buy this, what they were going to buy it for, and they optimized for it. There's storage everywhere, and it's huge. Center console, huge. Phone area in front of the cup holders, also huge, and has a little texture, kind of fun. Plus you get a wireless charger. Plus, again, cup holders, big enough for my big bottle, big points. A dashboard cubby, yes please. And with a thoughtful little charging port on the side, USB-C, you love to see it. I mean, this is a clinic of practical interior space for a family hauler, and you get physical climate controls. And this next section I'm calling the Ritz, because this may be an appliance with a purpose, but it's an appliance that also has some personality. Your whole interior gets this really expensive looking gold accenting, and it's paired with this black textured pattern that's everywhere, and it's integrated really, really well. Does it feel as expensive or premium as the CX-90? No, of course not. But it feels great for a Toyota. It feels very Venza, kind of blurring that line between Toyota and Lexus. It feels expensive, and it feels like it'll be durable. Plus you have things like suede in the seats. You have heated and cooled seats, front and rear. And you've got a heated steering wheel. I mean, it's great. And of course, Downshift approved pano sunroof. Then there's a technology, and we'll talk about safety too. Now here in your center screen, this is Toyota's new updated system. We've seen it on everything that they've rolled out since they introduced the new Tundra. Wireless CarPlay, Android Auto, dual Bluetooth connections, great graphics, very responsive, etc. It's a good system. 360 cameras, they are good. You're in reverse, it'll fill in under you. So it'll remember what you drove over and it'll show you on your screen. Very cool. You can also change the color of the vehicle if you want. I don't know why you would, but you could. And you still have the foolish egg mode, but it's not really here nor there. Interestingly though, you do get a head-up display, but only on the Platinum trim. So you don't get it on the limited trim here. You have to go to the top of the top. And then in terms of safety, great autopilot driver assist suite. This is Toyota's Safety Sense 3.0, so this is their most updated system. It doesn't change lanes for you, it doesn't let you drive totally hands-free forever, but it's a very good system. It handled all of the construction stuff around my house faultlessly. And to put a bow on all of it, it looks great. You've got a weird Salvador Dali chrome mustache, but the rest of it looks fantastic. You've got aggressive front design with a grille that hints expensive Lexus. And you've got sharp LED running lights. Your profile is boxy and muscular, and it's not too busy. It looks good. And a rear design that's very clean and almost bordering on too subtle, but it's got body-colored Grand Highlander script to display my point. It's handsome, it's timeless, much like myself. So let's stop talking. We're gonna grab the keys and go for a quick drive. Sport mode. All right, let's get on the road here. Just have a little launch in our Hybrid Max Grand Highlander. Here we go. Ooh, makes some noises. Traction control is working. It's not slow. I mean, it is not. 0 to 60, like 7.5 seconds, 265 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque. And like, that's great, that's all fine and everything, but to me, honestly, it's at its most comfortable at home, it's at its best in eco mode. Because the Palisade rather, the Telluride, the Pilot, the Traverse, like all the other competitors aside from the CX-90 don't have hybrids. They're all like big V6s or turbos or whatever. So like, this is the most efficient one. I've been getting 26 mpg in this thing all week in combined driving. And if you didn't get the turbo, if you just got the normal hybrid, you'd get like 30 mpg. And like I said, the Mazda CX-90, that's the only other hybridized one, but that's a first gen chassis, a first gen engine and transmission. Like, I have a Mazda, my wife has a Mazda, they've been bulletproof, but this is a Toyota hybrid system. I just have a feeling that this will be a little bit more reliable. But other than that, I mean, this thing is exactly, I was blown away like almost immediately driving this thing for 10 minutes because it was exactly what I think it needed to be. It's huge. It's got the interior volume of a Palisade or a Telluride. It's got the butch look of a Telluride. It looks great. It drives pretty well. It's got all-wheel drive with torque control. It doesn't drive as sporty as a Pilot, but it's still pretty fun. It doesn't feel quite as upscale or like expensive as a CX-90, but you do get this gold and some of the texture and stuff that we talked about before. You get a great safety suite here. Toyota Safety Sense 3 is fantastic. But to me, it's just like, when you get behind the wheel and drive this thing, it makes so much sense. It's so quiet and smooth. The handoff between, you know, gas and electric. We're in the Jeep plug-in hybrid, the Wrangler this week, and that is night and day less refined than this. This is such a nice system. The cabin is strangely almost luxury tier, isolated and quiet. The suspension is soft and cushy. It's not pretending to be like a sports car or anything, because it's not. That's what, nobody wants that from their 3-row Grand Highlander hybrid. This is, and I'm so happy to say it, it's exactly what it needed to be, I think. And it's a great SUV. Welcome to Sadie's Take, where we're gonna ask my wife, who is a non-car enthusiast, what her thoughts are on the new Grand Highlander.
Every time I get into a car, I always look at the climate control and to see if they actually have buttons, switches.
We got buttons.
Dials.
And toggles.
I need it all.
And it's textured and rubbery.
I do not like anything that has a touch screen involved. I don't like menus getting into it. I want it at 75 degrees. It's at 75 degrees.
So you would not like
I want
new
fan
BMWs
up.
and Mercedes.
I got the fan up.
Okay, what's the second thing you like?
All right. Number 2 is water bottle storage. So Matt and I have these giant water bottles that we carry around with us everywhere.
Yeah, her giant.
We call them our emotional support water bottles. Problem is, no cup holder ever fits these. It does not fit in here.
No.
But it does fit in that larger container.
All right, what's the third thing that you like?
Number 3 is the CarPlay.
Yes, wireless and Android Auto.
So Android Auto is actually important for me because I have an Android phone. That makes Matt cringe. So it's really nice though that I'll be able to use this. I've never had a car that has this, so I can easily go through my maps, my Spotify, easily make phone calls if needed. So just right there, heads up.
So that is the best and the rest of the new Grand Highlander. And sure, there are a couple tiny niggles here and there, like it may not be as expensive feeling as a Mazda CX-90, but overall, this thing did not miss. So thank you to Jen and Team Toyota for letting us have a go, and their fabulous new Grand Highlander. We'll see you in the next one.